Yeah, it was.
Yeah, what? I just started the meeting. I guess when you dial in, you probably think about it.
Okay, James, can I go ahead and start the public hearing? Okay, the time is now 6:49. I'm gonna go ahead and call a public hearing to order. The purpose of this public hearing is to consider an application by the City of Columbia on behalf of BO&J Investments LLC, doing business as West Park Bowl to the Downstate Small Business Stabilization Grant Program of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, funded by Community Development Block Grant Funds. Director of Community Development, Scott Dunnicky, will now provide a brief overview.
Thank you, Doug. On or about July 15th, 2020, the City of Columbia intends to apply for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for a grant from the state CDBG program, which is the Community Development Block Grant Program. This program is funded by Title I of the Federal Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended. And these funds are to be used to provide working capital for the benefit of BO&J Investments LLC, doing business as West Park Bowl. The total amount of the CDBG funds to be requested is $25,000 and will address the urgent needs of the business due to the COVID-19 emergency. And the way that breaks down is for personnel, for salary and wages, about $5,280, utilities, $4,372, telecommunications and internet, $1,950, inventory, $5,037, office-related supplies, $465, contractual services, $1,806, accounting services, $1,950, and insurance, $4,140. That's for a total of the $25,000 that will be requested.
Hey, Scott, I'm on now. This is Mayor Hutchinson.
I'm done, and we're now ready then, Mayor, to open up the public hearing.
Actually, are there any public comments? Public hearing?
Awesome. Any comments from the public, concerns, questions? Anybody raising their hand, James?
No.
Was that a no?
That is a no, sorry.
Okay. So, anybody from the council have any comments, concerns?
That's a no.
Not here.
Then, all right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we'll just stay on here for the regular meeting.
Well, I'm reading it now.
James, I guess I'm in as an attendee. I'm not in as a panelist.
Yeah, you can't do panelists with just the phone, but you're able to talk.
James, can you hear me?
Yeah, you should be able to talk though, but it won't let me promote you to panelist as a dial-in phone only.
Okay, let me see on the, do I need to dial like, I don't know what other number I can dial in
Be a computer.
that'll let me.
I mean, you could just stay like this. It'll we can hear you and everything.
Okay. But if we have to go into executive session, then we're boogered up. I guess.
Yeah, that's
if,
true.
If Doug, are you on? Can you hear me?
He's over here. We can give you a call on your cell phone, I guess, if we go into a closed session. Does that work?
Does Doug have anything for executive session?
Not that I'm aware of. But...
Scott doesn't think so. Actually, it does say there's one thing.
Yeah, let me try to zoom in real quick and see if it lets me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to let me.
I'd say my idea. Let's let them take him out there. Let's let them take him out to the range and target.
Hey, James.
Yes, sir.
James. Okay, what's the Zoom meeting ID number?
Golf and nothing else. Yard work. Working on the tan. Yeah, you too. Yeah, we're good there.
Did you hear me or no?
It's 869-4120-8379. I apologize. I'm talking through a mask too if it seems a little muffled.
Oh, no problem. Let me see if it lets me on. Yep, there we are. All right, I can see the room. All right, can you still hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. I just promoted you to panelist. I saw you joined as an attendee. I promoted you to panelist.
Perfect. Okay, now we're good.
It's showing you as
Can
muted
you
though.
see me? Am I muted? Am I muted?
Your panelists.
Yeah, there we go. I'm not muted now, am I?
Nope, perfect.
Okay. And I can see Jim, Doug, Gene. Okay, we're good. All righty. For 3 minutes to spare.
What's that?
We used to go up there by 5:20, shotgun start, but they won't let that people. So you gotta do time at the tea time, and it's not like you know for a while. It's almost
Right.
so.
All right. Now we'll see if I can get lucky and pull up
Yeah, this stuff's
the
good.
agenda. And I got it. We're golden. Awesome.
I can't.
And you can still hear me?
Loud and clear.
Perfect. I got 2 minutes, 45 seconds.
Legitimate.
Oh, wow.
I saw one on.
Hey, Kevin, are you on your cell phone right now?
I saw one
Yes.
At Pawn Star, and it was a 39, the original 39. Yeah. It was from a Navy.
What's that?
Yeah, it was from a Navy ship. So, but they only fly it when they're in port. That flag. That big. It's 7x11.
Porch I've been restoring. See all those X's?
Yeah.
I still have to make a couple of O's to go in between them. And then I gotta put them scutches. These are all from the earlier 1851 porches. All square nails. They drilled the holes before they hammered the nails in, because otherwise, you see those square nails are red. You'd split the hole.
I'm sorry, I can't hear James.
Wedge shape with the grain.
I don't know.
Using the grain rather than
I don't know how it's set up.
split the wood.
Kevin.
Yep. What?
Regularly, then you're having.
Right, so that's that, but then also the ones that are legit. So we identified a lot of our suspects that way too. You know, more than we thought that's six things. So I know, like, you know, different times, it's in the car, we're gonna be looking at different things. And then we look at that's really what it is. You know, and so technology, they lost Nope, it's in the car. I got it on my phone, computer. I'm immediately right there in the car. I had mine on laying out somebody that was in the car. It was like, go off in the car. Now it's going off in station 2. And she's getting the call. Well, not the officer, the officer.
Kevin, you're on your Zoom app. It's showing as muted, by the way.
Okay, now have you let everybody in?
Oh, gotcha.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I was just worried. I didn't know if you had muted on purpose or it was something else.
No, it's for some reason it muted me. Is everybody in the meeting, all the public and everything?
Yes, sir.
All right, Wes, you ready to go?
Ready.
All right. All right, let's call the city council meeting to order for Monday, July 6th. Roll call, please.
Eversol.
Here.
Agni. Nemeth. Rustler. Hoop.
Here.
Here. Riddle. And the mayor.
All right, if everybody please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, justice for all. Is everybody there? Do we have any proclamations, recognitions, or presentations?
No, sir.
Any public input?
Mr. Mayor, John Petker had indicated that he would like to participate in the meeting, and I believe he is here this evening.
Okay, is he there?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Mr. Petker, you're on.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. A little odd this evening, but good. Thank you for allowing us to be here. We were wanting to communicate in regards to a property we purchased for purpose of building a new home for clients. The property is 714 Eckert Lane. It is in the county and adjacent to the city. Our question, I guess, in regards to that property, when we went through our due diligence process for our customers, in regards to water and sewer service. So in regards to the sewer service, our customers at the time wanted to maintain in the county for the purpose of county living, small farm animals, et cetera, was the communication. We put an application in for a private sewage disposal system, which that permit was awarded to us for that property. And then in regards to water service, we communicated with the village in regards to that property and what the cost would be, and got communication that it would, simply be the cost of the tap-in service. At the time, we should have further investigated and got more due diligence from the higher staff at the city. Once we did that, we realized that we would have to, enter into an annexation agreement since we're adjacent to the property in the city in order to get water and sewer service. I guess there's three conversation points that I want to discuss in regards to this. One is understand, obviously, that ordinance was passed, I believe, in 2018 in that regard, as far as the water service. There are adjacent neighbors to us that already have water service that are not in the city, but assuming they did their tap-ons, previous to the new ordinance, which is understandable. Aggravating, of course, but understandable. The second question that I have is we've received communication that there might be, as part of the annexation, a demand, for lack of terms, to improve Eckert Lane in front of our property. I believe one of the neighboring gentlemen remember who it is. I believe it's someone on council or part of the city organization, is a neighbor that had improved their property up to just the point at the beginning of their property. And then they annexed into the city and got water service. And what I mean improved, they improved Eckert Lane. So our question is, do we have to improve Eckert Lane all the way up in front? I mean, our property has a pretty long radius. Would that be, is that what the demand is? I mean, the ordinance says that you have to enter into an annexation agreement in order to get the city service, but what, more specifically, what will the demand be besides, I'm assuming us extending the main if we need to extend it, et cetera, et cetera. It's just really not defined. The other issue we have is because of our timing, our project is well under construction and almost ready for the residents to occupy. So our calendar, because of lack of action, is shortened in this regard. That was my second point. I'll put all three of them out there and then let you speak. My third point is, by using this property as an example, but it relates really to anybody adjacent to the city, I feel personally that if you, I mean, obviously you have the right for the ordinance, you have the right to protect your city services, obviously no issue with that. But that property, if it has a demand, it's in the county, and now it has this demand, according to the health department, they issued us a sewer permit in air. So basically, there is a rule that says if there's sewer service within 300 feet, that we are supposed to attach the sewer service. Well, I guess what I'm saying is if there's a property, again, this one as an example, but it could be any property adjacent to the city. Now that you have this ordinance, and there is, I'm assuming, the state rule that if the sewer service is within 300 feet, to get the sewer service, they have to annex. To annex, they have to improve their street, potentially, is what has been communicated, not confirmed. But all of a sudden, in my opinion, that extremely devalues that adjacent property. If that makes sense. And really without any control of somebody that's in the county that has no voting rights or anything pertaining to the city. And as a whole, I don't think that's necessarily fair, simply. Well, those are my three conversation points.
All right. Well, it sounds like you know what the code says, and obviously you've spoke with Chris or Justin on this.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. So it's pretty clear if we didn't do this, then all of a sudden you would have a lot of people, and we've gone through this before, where we had all these little pockets and we had all these little areas that weren't annexed into the city because we didn't follow this, and we didn't make sure that, as we were expanding, as they were, wanting improved services, that's all part of being, part of the city. And that's why we have this. As far as, and Doug, maybe you can clarify this. Would this be, if the council was to grant this, would this be in the form of a resolution or an ordinance, or what would we do? Because we wouldn't meet and discuss that until the 20th.
It wouldn't be a staff's recommendation to allow any kind of variance or deviation from the ordinance that was adopted in 2018, sir.
Yeah, that's what I would have expected. I was just saying if there was a request for formal action, if any, I don't even know what if there's a formal document to ask for, like a variance or I'm not even positive.
If I could interrupt, Mayor, I think that the process is filing for an annexation agreement. I guess my question is the terms of the annexation, which, as we all know, are always negotiable, are just really not defined in this regard. Do we need to improve the whole entire street, or what? I mean, if we go to develop a subdivision, there's subdivision ordinances that clearly set the expectation of what the city expects. In my opinion, in this regard, there's no expectation. It's just an open and wide negotiation, I'm assuming, or asking.
No, I would have to defer to either a city engineer or a director of community development for that.
I mean, I think the thing is we don't have anything.
Hey, Doug, Scott, can you guys speak up a little bit?
Chris is coming up to the podium.
Oh, Chris, thank you.
I think from our position, I mean, there's nothing really that defines the street except for maybe there's past history on Eckert Lane where improvements were made through the same process. And that was to be up for discussion of how to handle that and how we need to handle it going forward. I mean, the water itself, yeah, I mean, that's where we got it. They would extend probably the main to the point. And there is sewer, like John said, within 200 or 300 feet, that they would,
Yeah.
have to extend or tap into as well, or bring it to the property line of some sort. So.
Okay. Well, I think it's clear, it's what we've done in the past. It's why we had the ordinance. It's why we've had it on the books. And if they would like to request, special treatment, et cetera, through an annexation agreement, we could address that later. But, for the most part, unless some of the council members feel different, we're going to go with staff recommendation.
What we can do, the three of us, Chris Smith, Scott Dunnick and I, John, we can get together and kind of work out some of those concerns and bring that back to the council, because ultimately any kind of annexation action would have to be approved by the city council.
In the past, have any of the annexation agreements have recoupment involved? I know as a bigger venture, the Country Crossing sewer main has a recoupment agreement tied to it. I'm assuming that's always a possibility.
That's something that we can certainly discuss.
Okay, thank you for everyone's time.
All righty. Thank you. Anybody else for public comment, public input?
Jim Vogt had indicated that he would be directly participating. I don't know, James, is he online?
Jim was just here for the application for the case that they got. Just in case there were any technical questions.
So that's everybody? All right. Okay, I have no comments. Was there anybody else for public input?
No, sir.
Okay. I have no comments or announcements. Any aldermen? Departments or directors? I see the special event status update.
Mr. Dunnicky?
Yes, staff just wanted to give council a kind of a status update on some of the special events that Sue works very hard on every year. Obviously, this year has been a little bit of a nuisance for everyone when it comes to figuring out what to do with these sorts of things. To date, the citywide yard sale that was originally scheduled for April 3rd and 4th has been rescheduled to August 14th and 15th. The reduce, reuse, recycle event, which is our big annual recycling event we normally have every year, that was scheduled for April 4th. This year, it's only going to be able to do the electronics recycling because of the rescheduling, and that will be held on August 1st. And then, as you're aware, the Music That Matter has been transitioned over to virtual events to work together with Main Street with a virtual donation jar to gather collections, donations for Main Street member businesses. Now, that leaves us with a few upcoming events that need to be determined. At this point, for Festival, which is now scheduled for October 4th, staff is just recommending that we go ahead and cancel that at this time. Sue's already behind the 8 ball with everything. She normally starts in June with all the preparations for that. And he's just not confident there can be even if we could have the in-person events, she's not confident that we'd be able to pull it off with any degree of success given the delay in getting it together. So we are going to recommend canceling that. And we are going to recommend canceling the event portion of Halloween Hijinks and just in lieu of promoting trick-or-treating along the Main Street businesses.
Okay.
And then we figured we'd punt for a little while on the Christmas-related events to see if anything, what happens with the COVID orders, et cetera. And we'll probably bring a recommendation to you closer to October as that rolls around. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thanks for the update. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Alderman?
Columbia Days?
That wasn't on the list. That's not a city event, though.
Isn't that ours? Okay. Okay.
presumably would be a no-go, given the limitations on crowd sizes.
Yeah. So, all right, we got anybody else?
No,
All
sir.
right, Scott, thank you for the update, and we'll look forward to hearing, this has been a moving target all along, and I'm sure it will continue to be a moving target. All right, Wes, consent agenda.
We have 4 items on the consent agenda. The first is a motion to approve the minutes of the June 15th, 2020 regular city council meeting. Item number 2 is motion to approve the closed session minutes of the June 15th, 2020 regular city council meeting. Item number 3 is a motion to approve payment of vouchers for the period of June 13th, 2020 through June 30th, 2020, totaling $418,297.82. Fourth item is a motion to approve the statement of funds at the end of April 2020.
All right, does anybody wish to have any of those removed or clarified? With no answers, I will take a motion and second. Motion by Hook, second by Nemitz for the consent agenda. Roll call.
Eversol.
Yes.
Agni. Nemitz. Wrestler. Hoop.
Yes.
Ocamp.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Riddle. Yes. Thank you.
All right, unfinished business, ordinance 3524. Scott, got any, we've already pretty much discussed this, I believe.
Yes, Mayor, this was the item that was discussed last week, and the ordinance is before you for approval.
Perfect. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 3524, approving the plat of Country Crossing 2 subdivision. And you'll have to speak up. I can't see you.
Wrestler made a motion, I think.
Thank you. Motion by Wrestler, second by
Martins.
Perfect. Any questions, comments? Roll call and thank you.
Eversol.
Yes.
Agni. Nemitz. Wrestler.
Yes.
Hoop.
Yes.
Ocamp.
Yes.
Martins.
Yes.
Riddle. Yes. Thank you.
And the next is ordinance 3525, the sign variance at 11 South. Scott, I believe that was a unanimous at the Planning Commission.
It was unanimous at the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission felt that the applicant met the standards of variance approval as stated in the sign code, and recommended approval.
All right. Does anybody have any questions, comments on that? Entertain a motion to approve ordinance 3525, granting the sign variance.
Martins made a motion.
And it was seconded by
Nemitz.
Martin's moved, seconded by Nemitz. Any questions, comments? With there being none, roll call.
Eversol.
Yes.
Agni.
No.
Nemitz. Wrestler. Hoop.
Yes.
Ocamp.
Yes.
Martins.
Yes.
Riddle. Yes. Thank you.
Here, I have a question,
Yes.
just to make sure that now that this has been taken care of, all the individual signs that have been on the property will all be removed once this is installed, correct? There will be no additional signs.
All of the individual signs, meaning
St. Clair, Peds, and all the other signs that have been out there on the hillsides in various locations,
There-
they haven't been removed already.
that can be done, yes. That was unrelated to this, but it's something that I know Justin has been working with Mr. Capias on.
Well, it should be fixed.
You can't tie those together. It's too- Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, that's a sign.
As you know.
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
I did add a couple of conditions based on some of the, what we would typically do is there would be no further variance from this subject sign without first repealing this variance. And replace him with a new one. In other words, you typically wouldn't read a variance on top of a variance on top of a variance for the same exact thing. That's normally not done. So we're saying that you wouldn't do that again. And then, everything would have to be built substantially in substantial compliance with the drawings and site plans that were attached. And of course, the further variances, this variance one variance was approved to serve. It'd be, I don't know if it would be appropriate to put that on this. But it would be.
My vote, Scott, because that's the purpose is serving the entire site. So that's for me, what's doing
Yes.
is to clean up the property and avoid
There are
all
some
other
illegal
signs
signs there.
and have.
Yeah, and I think Alderman Nemitz, I think what you're saying is clear in that there needs to be a better watchful eye on those signs that tend to pop up. Now that he's got this, we should not see those other signs popping up, and if we do, we need to be a little more aggressive and have a better watchful eye on that.
Yes, that is the intent would be to not have.
Okay.
I understand your question. I'm sorry.
Yes. Are we talking about the tractor trailer that's parked there? Is that one of the signs that
Well,
popped
that
up?
sign's illegal right now.
I know, I know.
can-
Yeah,
I can
and-
ask Justin to be more aggressive with those enforcement actions if that is the direction of council.
It can
Yep.
all be done on electronic signs, if that's to condense and to simplify and to make it look neater.
So
That's my
what
support.
council's saying that upon.
Yeah,
You don't want any more lenience on that once this sign goes in.
I mean,
because that
that's,
would be
that
able to be
was my.
advertised.
And Scott, I think the entire council feels that way. I mean, when you're developing and when you're getting things going, things happen, but now we have a, tractor trailer that has now become a sign because it just sits there. So if they try to say, it's a, conveyance for on-road use, well, then they're violating parking laws by not parking on improved surfaces, etc. So I would agree we need to get a little more aggressive with the sign codes.
Absolutely. I will make sure that message is relayed to Mr. Osterhag.
All right. Any other questions on that?
Yes.
Great. New business. We have the, what's that?
Alderman Agnew has a question. What is going to be the limit of a tenant sign? If he gets 15 or 20 tenant signs, are we going to have tenants all over the face of the building?
No,
That's where it's headed.
Alderman Agnew, it's actually in the annexation agreement what the sign package was, and I don't have that in front of me, but it's limited on the number of signs on the sides of the buildings. So not everybody gets a sign on the side of the building.
I mean, he's put up a nice piece of architecture out there, and it's becoming
Yeah.
billboard in Southern Illinois.
Understood.
All righty. Thank you for your comments. So, all right, we got everything on that. Let's go to new business. This one is the resolution 202014 approving a multi-jurisdictional intergovernmental agreement for participation in the Metropolitan Enforcement Group of Southwestern Illinois. If somebody be so inclined to make that motion.
Alderman Holcamp would like to make that motion.
Motion by Holdcamp, second by.
I'll second.
Eversol.
Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Eversol.
Yes.
Agnew.
Yes.
Nemitz.
Yes.
Wrestler.
Yes.
Hook.
Yes.
Holcamp. Martin.
Yes.
Riddle.
Yes.
And next we have resolution 202015 supporting the city of Columbia applying to East West Gateway Council of Governments for a transportation alternatives program grant for developing and contracting GM&O connector trail project in the city of Columbia. If somebody would be so kind to make that motion.
Nemitz hand one up real quick.
Also move, Your Honor.
I felt the breeze all the way here. Motion by Nemitz, second by.
No one.
I'll second.
Wow, tough crowd.
Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Eversol, Agni,
Yes.
Nemitz,
Yes.
Wrestler, Hook,
Yes.
Camp, Martin,
Yes.
Riddle. That'd been fun. Motion failed for lack of a second.
Oh, no, 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 no. Hey, Chris, give us an overview on the Quarry Road resurfacing.
Thank you, Mayor. We did some research, not only speaking with some of the potential bidders, and we finally got some information back from IDOT. Our recommendation is that we want to reject the bids and rebid it.
All right.
We'll tweak the plans a little bit. September 18th, so the only bid that we can get on for the funding of this. So more than likely, maybe a part of this project may start sometime in November, but it'll be closed up prior for the winter, and the bulk of it will be next spring. Hopefully that'll eliminate maybe some of the asphalt issues that we perceived to had from the 255 project that'll end in November. So just want to give everybody a heads up that we just need to reject the bids, and we'll work on getting something on the September letting.
Sounds good. We'll see what comes up in September unless anybody has any questions.
I think we have to formally reject the bids, though.
Is there a motion to reject the bids received for the Quarry Road resurfacing project?
Thank you. Who was the motion by?
Motion Martin, second Eversol.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Eversol,
Yes.
Agni,
Yes.
Nemitz,
Yes.
Wrestler, Hook,
Yes.
Camp,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Scott, you want to give us a quick overview on the addendum for Horner Schifrin?
It's actually me, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've
Chris.
got an addendum for some of the construction administration shop drawing reviews and stuff for the Wecker pump station project. More the integration and the SCADA system, a little more up here than me and Tim, so we had to rely a little bit more on the professionals to tweak everything out. But that's the last thing we're waiting on. Hopefully, we'll have that stuff going in here in the next week or two and finish that project up.
The amount on this?
All righty. Any questions, comments on that?
Not to exceed 10.5.
All right, then next we have ordinance 3526. And
We didn't vote yet.
what was that? What?
We'll need an ordinance for that addendum, sir.
Oh, I didn't see it on here.
In a second, I'm sorry.
We need a
sir.
motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I thought Scott was just putting it together, or I'm sorry, Chris was putting it together and getting back to it. So I'll have a motion. I'd entertain a motion for the addendum to the current agreement with Horner Schifrin as outlined.
Motion Riddle,
Second,
Eversol.
thank you. Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Eversol,
Yes.
Agni,
Yes.
Nemitz,
Yes.
Wrestler, Hook,
Yes.
Camp.
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Riddle. Yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next is the ordinance for 3526, amending ordinance 2806, approved a special use permit to allow a pet grooming business on property zone C2 General Business District. If somebody would make that motion.
Motion
Wrestler,
Wrestler, second Martins.
All right, you got a motion, Wrestler, second Martins. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mary Ellen has her hand up, sir.
Oh, Alderman Nemitz?
Just a quick question, Mayor. The address stayed the same even though it moved in the building, or was a misprint on the?
No, the address is changing, but it's literally next door in the same building.
Okay, but I thought I saw the same, was it 1, 2, 3? I thought I saw the same number all throughout the document, but I don't have it in. front of
You
me,
did, but
sorry.
I don't know what the new address is going to be.
Okay.
It's just that really the issue is that normally when you approve a special use, it's at the parcel level.
Okay. fine,
And
that's all.
so Terry said that being the case, we can go ahead and just amend this ordinance because the impacts are the same.
All right, I was just confused because I saw the same address and I thought maybe that was a misprint, so
Yep.
thank you.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
it.
All righty, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Eversol,
Yes.
Agni, Nemitz,
Yes.
Wrestler, Hook,
Yes.
Camp.
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Riddle. Yes. Thank you.
All right, next is resolution 202016, in support of an application to the Downstate Small Business Stabilization Grant Program submitted by the City of Columbia on behalf of VO&J Investments LLC, also known as West Park Bowl. Any questions, comments on that? If not, entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Motion Nemitz,
Also move.
second Riddle.
Motion by Nemitz, second by Riddle. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Eversol, Agni, Nemitz,
Yes.
Rustler, Pook.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
And Riddle.
Yes.
All right, and we do have something for closed session.
Yes, sir.
All right, entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Also move, Your Honor.
Motion by Nemitz, second by
Second.
Eversol.
Eversol.
roll call.
Eversol,
Yes.
Agni, Nemitz,
Yes.
Rustler, Pook,
Yes.
Camp, Martin.
Yes.
All right, let me know when we're clear, James.
Yeah, hold on.
Actually, I can go ahead and call the executive session to order. Roll call.